Hey there, athletes. Coach John Ferry here from Team Wilpers. Very excited to welcome you to the athlete briefing for week 2 of the Spring Run Challenge 2023. So congratulations, coming to the conclusion almost of week 1 here, and extra special congratulations for those of you that completed the 20-minute distance test this week and set the stage for the challenge to come. It's exactly where we all want to be starting with fresh paces and a new baseline. So per usual, we're going to do a quick week 1 review. So if you didn't do your distance test, you started with a 30-minute progression run. So it's a great way to practice pacing, great way to kind of touch on a lot of the paces we'll be using over the scope of the challenge. Always a nice way to finish stronger than you started, which is the overall goal here, which is to start, get a little bit faster over the course of the run, finish feeling good. Our run number 2 was our 30-minute interval run. So there's a 15-minute warm-up, 10-minute main set, 5 by 1 minute at VO2 max. So I believe I mentioned last week, and the same this week, same workout, that this is a little bit more of an intro to VO2 max than anything else. So when we jump here into the week ahead, which we'll talk about here very soon, it'll be a little bit more of a true VO2 max workout. So hopefully you start to kind of feel what that is like and get a sense of what is to come. And our final key run of the week, which many of you will probably still have ahead, is our 45-minute endurance run. This is going to be an easy, light effort. Should be the easiest workout of the week, hopefully. Let's see here. I have one of our coaches here, Carly, joining us hopefully today. She should be adding at this moment. So while she's joining, this is my always reminder to go onto the website. Not only, Carly said you declined our live video invitation. So hopefully you can come and get right back to that here in a second. But go onto the website. Go ahead, check those boxes saying that you did the workout. 100% completion percentage is exactly what we want. It is the best opportunity for improvement over the scope of our 8-week challenge. Always being in kind of pursuit of that. Hey, Carly, what's going on?
Hi, sorry about that. There's a little glitch.
No problem at all. Well, this is actually perfect timing, as the next note here is the name Carly Graham.
Hello, here I am.
All right, well, welcome. This is now Team Wilpers coach and Dr. Carly Graham. So I'm going to do a quick intro of Carly, and then I'm going to turn it over. So maybe first let me introduce, because Carly just got back from travel, so I didn't want to bother her while she's away. But Carly is going to kind of be co-coaching the spring challenge with me. So something I'm super excited about. While I love talking to you all, and I'll continue to be here each week, there is no monopoly on good ideas. And this is just a great example to bring an incredibly talented and different viewpoint to some of the things that I've been talking about for a long time. So for those of you who've been around a while, this is hopefully going to be a huge refreshing thing. It'll be refreshing for me to be able to bounce stuff off of Carly. So Carly is a native of Syracuse, New York, now living in Rochester, even though one of these days she'll be back in New York City. I'm certain of it. She earned both a doctorate of physical therapy and a bachelor's of clinical health and science at Ithaca College, and also brought in then your college coach to also work with us here as a coach at Team Wilpers, which is a very fun circle. Yep. At Ithaca, Carly was a member of the volleyball team, ran on the cross country and track team, and appeared at regional, qualifier, and national standard events throughout her career. Carly continues to run competitively and operates her own physical therapy practice, and not to mention being an excellent Team Wilpers coach. Did I miss anything?
No, that was great. Thanks, John. That was too much, too nice.
Well, I tried. All right, so we're going to jump right into the week 2 workouts. And my main goal is I'm excited to hear Carly's opinion. I know my opinion, so I'm going to turn a lot of it over to her here. So we're starting with our 30-minute interval run, focusing on anaerobic capacity here. We're going to have a 15-minute warm-up, including the lunge matrix warm-up. And so the lunge matrix, I know, is something that Carly is very familiar with. And so, Carly, kind of why would you incorporate a 3D warm-up like this? Now, before I turn it over to you, I'm going to say, this is kind of an unusual movement pattern. So I know when we introduce it to new people and athletes, there are going to be a lot of questions about kind of what is this? I've never seen anything like it, and why is a good starter for this type of running?
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely a weird one. I have a lot of people where I was living in New York City, you'd go to Central Park and you'd see people doing all those weird reaches, and you're like, oh, they must come to where we work, right? It's not a normal stretch people see, but what we know in our, again, as physical therapists too, is that your body moves when you run. You load your joints and you move your body in 3 planes of motion when you go to run. So this is the way to kind of prime your body up to be able to move in those ways and load efficiently when you do go to run. So it's that idea, if you prepare your body for what it's about to do, you're more likely to do it more efficiently with less risk of, again, having an injury happen, that whole kind of thing. So it's just that whole idea of you don't put the car in drive before you turn the car on. So you just want to make sure your body's kind of primed up, moving your body and your joints in all those different directions, because when you go to run, as soon as you take that step on one foot, your hip moves and needs to load in all of those ways. So kind of warms you up and gets you to kind of feel all of those different ranges of motion. I always tell people too, when you're doing those reaches, up, down, side to side, rotating, you want to feel your hips moving in those directions too. Sometimes people just move their arms, but remember when you're doing that too, your hips are going side to side, you're rotating your hips, and it's a whole kind of full body warm up in all the ways that you're going to use it when you do go to run, and then warm everything up in the right way.
It is my go-to to this day. You know, I was introduced to it by Jason Lakritz, who might have been the one that introduced you to it, maybe not. I probably like many runners out there, especially because I was not I don't have the pedigree that like you and Matt and Jason. Like, I was not a college runner. I was just a dude that got into it. And so I think I learned it the way a lot of people learn, which is like watching people at races in Central Park do the like hamstring kicks, which I think is the worst warm up in the history of running. But that was what I just saw other people doing, so I copied it. So I remember like learning this the first time and Jason breaking it down, where I was like, wow, this feels good. So I'm going to encourage, over the scope of this challenge, we're going to make sure that people are doing this. We're going to incorporate some more other warm-up routines, but this is a great one to get started with. As Carly nailed, we're always moving in 3 planes of motion, so we should warm up that way. And so the main set to stick with the workout here. So we're coming in with anaerobic capacity. So people who did the winter challenge, we did a lot of anaerobic capacity work, talked a lot about it. People who've come off of their endurance cycles now, we haven't done as much. So over the scope of this challenge, we're going to be focusing on anaerobic capacity and also VO2 max, but this anaerobic capacity kind of was high intensity, relatively short periods of time. And so this workout, we're starting with 4 30-second intervals, 30 second on, 30 seconds off, and 45 second on and 45 seconds off. So very short intervals, pretty darn high intensity. So Carly, why include this? Because I kind of prepped Carly earlier as well, which, you know, we have athletes of all ability levels. And I tried to just plead my case last week that this was also a relevant workout for athletes of all ability levels. It's great, in my opinion, for beginners, for people who are very experienced. So I kind of want to ask you is, you know, why include anaerobic capacity work, especially if you're a runner that maybe, you know, your races are 5Ks, 10Ks, et cetera. You know, why do you think it's relevant to work like at this kind of high intensity?
Yeah, I mean, especially it's good for all distances. So yeah, all you marathoners, it's good too to kind of include that in as well. But especially if your focus is kind of that shorter distance, shorter relative to a marathon of like mile, 5K, 10K, that kind of a distance. You need to prepare, as I kind of said about the stretches, this is the kind of same way in training, right? You want to prepare your body to be able to handle that faster twitch, like activation of all your muscles in your body and your body moving that quickly. If you don't train your body to move faster, it's not going to move faster. So I think it's that whole idea of trying to train a bunch of these different systems. And when we coach people, we kind of talk about the reason we do workouts and the reason we do all of these things is to create a wide range of fitness. When you want to become really in shape and fit, like if you only run one pace, your heart muscle, your body only knows how to work at this much strength. But if you try to train the slower systems of your limit and the higher systems of your limit, you create this big range of fitness and strength to make you a more efficient, stronger runner. So I do think, so anaerobic capacity is that one range. And it's that idea that even though like your easy or your endurance, that easy effort pace is here, getting your heart to be stressed for short spurts at this pace increases its tolerance to hard efforts, which then over time will become stronger to hard efforts. And therefore your 5K time, the time that you want to run 20 minutes as fast as you can, you'll be able to tolerate that stress better because you've trained your system to work at those higher loads. And then the anaerobic capacity, those short spurts are good to help with like focus. I always tell people, focus on how you feel for those short spurts. Don't just go flailing as fast as you can for 30 seconds, like have an awareness of how fast you're going and quick feet and actually feel your body, like become in tune with how you feel going fast. So you don't just go into a 20-minute test and say, I don't know what it feels like to go faster. No, you've trained your body on what it feels like to start moving quicker and at different speeds. So it's just good for that overall, again, strength and training, and to just make you that overall better, wider fitness of a runner, not just I have one pace and that means that's kind of like your fitness level and it stays there.
That nails it across all spectrums. So I'm adding nothing to that. So, finally, the cool down of this workout is relatively short. I've said in the past with some of these things, we kind of like try to put a little bow on them and make them exactly like 30 minutes or 45 or 60 minutes. But there's no reason at all that this can't be 34 minutes or 36 minutes. So this is a high intensity exercise. It might make sense to spend a little bit more time cooling down. We're actually going to talk about cool downs a little bit later because there were some questions there. So key run number 2, going back to that lunge matrix stretch. Practice is perfect. Repeat, 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 repeat. It will get better as it goes. It starts to be more relevant as it gets better. So keep working at it. Once again, we're going to add different moves in down the scope of the challenge. So you want to have this one nailed by the time we get to that. 10-minute warm-up inclusive of strides. So Carly, I didn't prep you for. It was funny, Matt talks about this all the time. I just was curious, how often did you run strides, like when you're competing in track and cross country?
For every workout. 100%.
Every single workout, yeah.
Yeah, before, I mean, that's like if you were to run a race, 100%, it's a part of your warm-up. Sometimes you do a couple of strides the day before. Yeah. How I describe strides, again, I don't know if you want me to go on, I don't need to like
go for it.
Strides, it's like that quick prep. It gets it's like that muscle, again, the PT side of me, it's that muscle kind of tendon neurological connection where you train your body, you train your tendons what they're about to do. So it's like, hey, you're about to go fast, like I'm going to do this quick 10 to 20 second like quick fast spurt just to practice. Like it's not, again, all out sprinting, but it's how do I go faster and feel in control and get my body to know what it's like to feel that way. So you actually train your body on how to feel that way. And again, this is how people are like, well, I'm just going to pull my calf. I'm like, yeah, if you don't warm it up enough to feel what you're about to do. So like we would do strides, we do our, again, depending on the distance and the athlete, you do your 1 to 3 mile warm up, and then you go ahead and do some strides, some drills, and you do your workout. And that was every workout we did in college. I still do that. I still add strides in just to the end of runs during the week, just because they're good to kind of, again, like this, added in throughout the week, just to keep your body in tune with, hey, what does it feel like to go fast? What does it feel like to feel that different thing? But yeah, we used to have them all the time. I think it's just that primer. Just helps your body. Again, you don't go to the gym and just put your max weight on the bar and squat it, hopefully. You kind of warm yourself up. You do like some drills to get your joints moving and all that kind of stuff. So it's the same idea. It just kind of preps your body for what it's about to do.
I think it's so funny. Matt says the exact same thing. And it's another one of those things like, I was Joe Schmo coming to running. You, Matt, other, deep college runners, like you all do this every single time. It's not like it's just fodder. And it's only us, like, kind of who are coming in outside of it, who just go straight into running. But the goal and what we're trying to do here as a challenge and a company that coaches athletes is take the habits and the things that Carly and other elite athletes do and share them so you can apply them. So don't think it's just something we're throwing in just to kind of, fill the time. These are really relevant things, and these are the habits of really elite athletes. And they're great things to build into everyone's routine. So
there's no pace associated with striders. I usually like to tell people it's like different for everyone. Yep. Like if you an 8-minute mile, you're on a 15-minute mile, and that's your easy pace. There's no wrong in any of that. Your strider is what your body feels like when your stride opens, strider, right? So it's that whole idea of like your stride, don't look for like a specific, well, they run faster or slower than me. It doesn't matter. It's just one of those, you're prepping your body at your pace to move quicker. So there's like, I know a lot of people are like, well, I'm not fast. I'm like, there's no fast or slow. Everyone has their own fast or slow. It's just a matter of what you want to do to move your body and prepare it a little bit faster.
Absolutely. And so our main set on the VO2 Max workout today, or this upcoming week, is going to be 5 by 2 minutes on, 1 minute off. So I preface our kind of week 1 workout. It's just minute on, minute off. It's a little bit of an intro in it to start feeling the pace. I kind of feel like at 2 minutes on, 1 minute off, we start to like really get into it, where heart rate's going to be elevated. recovery is generous, but not huge. It's not anymore at that 1-to-1 work to recovery ratio. We're moving to 2-to-1. So Carly, I'm sure you have done countless VO2 max sessions in your life and your racing career. Any tips or tricks on kind of like working racing VO2 max?
It's not going to be easy. I know a lot of people are like, isn't this supposed to feel good? I'm supposed to be able to run a whole 5K or like a whole distance. No, it's not. It's never easy. So I think the thing to remember is like, it's hard. I think sometimes with workouts, I mean, and again, hard is relevant to each person. There's no, you have to run a certain pace to make this feel quote hard. It's just one of those number of VO2 should feel tough and it's good to train. Again, the whole point of it is just like any distance, marathon pace feels tough, but hopefully not till like the 3rd mile of your marathon workout, right? Like it's one of those that VO2 will feel hard and it'll feel hard fast. And it's just that idea of teaching your body how to stay in control while you feel like, again, things are getting hard. Because that's the whole idea. If your end goal is to increase your speed to run 20 minutes faster at the end or run a 5K faster at the end, your whole idea is how do I increase my body's tolerance to fatigue? So the VO2 is kind of that whole idea, right? You're over like a hard like a hard workout. You shouldn't feel like it's easy. So it's one of those to remember that. Just remember, stay calm, stay cool, like keep your form in tune and don't let your body again just like flail around. 30 seconds is quick enough that you can kind of stop and reset. But 2 minutes, like that's a decent amount of time of like feeling that fatigue build up. So learn how to tolerate that fatigue and relax those arms out a little bit. And yeah, don't freak yourself. It shouldn't feel that easy and just keep working at it and keep your body kind of relaxed and not tensing up too much.
Yeah. And there are some VO2 max monsters out there. Something you said made me think of it. Like VO2 max does come naturally to some people where the endurance aspect of it doesn't. Like I'm such an endurance bug, like VO2 max is a struggle for me. Like I'm going to feel it, I'm going to hurt while doing the workout. But some people are super well suited to VO2 max workouts and struggle in endurance sets. So it doesn't always mean that it's like the hardest workout for you. Sometimes, yeah, the endurance ones could be harder because of that long effort. So give it a go. Yes, it should be on a 1 to 7 kind of RPE scale. It's 5 out of 7, pretty intense. This will be a nice step up from what we did last week. One little caveat, and Carly, I'd be interested on your opinion again. Both of these paces I find are really tricky. You know, you keep mentioning like flail around a little bit. Running on treadmills. I want to just put a little disclaimer out to everyone who does treadmill workouts because it's a great tool, good to have. Don't need to necessarily go find a track to do it. The belt and the torque that the belt creates can be problematic for these things. I always refer to it as you want to be running the workout and you don't want to like the workout to sort of be running you or the belt to be running you. So we see a lot of runners of all ability levels get in trouble when they start to go to this kind of pace because they stop picking up their legs, they stop driving off their back foot, and they sort of make themselves airborne and allow the belt to kind of whip under in a fast motion. So you want to really be focused. You know, if we're going to give a prompt or a form cue, to make sure you're driving off the foot, pushing forward, just being conscious about making sure to not just be kind of go to this long loping stride. You want to really be running the workout as opposed to taking that torque, because that can torque your hamstring really quickly and give little tweaks if you start to get really long and lopey in these sets.
Yeah, I always say you run on the treadmill, don't let the treadmill run you, because I think it's just you have to pick your feet up on the treadmill, make sure you're the one that's moving your feet on the belt. And I tell people personally, I do too, if I try to go fast on a treadmill, is go by effort. Find that again, if you're doing out of 7 on an RPE type of scale, like you want to find what's that 6 out of 7, 5 out of 7 effort, and go off of it. Like if it's one of those where this is a 5 out of 7, like it's one of those I couldn't hold for 20 minutes, right? Like or I could, like just try to see what you could feel. If it's not the most perfect pace, but you're still working your cardiac system at that same level, like you're going to get a similar benefit. I'm not a treadmill person. I know it's a good tool, and I know a lot of people love to run on treadmills, and like that's fine, right? Like that's fine. But I do think it's just learning how to pace yourself. If you're something you're really looking at is I want to run a road 5K at a certain pace, like you're better off trying to find a place outside. And whether it's a quick little stretch on a road neighborhood you go back and forth, or if you're on like a path, that's fine. But the biggest thing on a treadmill is you run on the belt. Don't let the belt run you. And like you pick your feet up and push the belt behind you. Don't let the belt pull you. And so I always try to tell people that is like, you want to feel like you're lifting your legs up on the belt. The belt's not pulling your leg back so far, like you said, that you're overstriding and doing something funky.
Yeah. So just be thoughtful. as Carly said, it's a great thing. If you are a treadmill only runner, these are pretty easy things. These anaerobic capacity and the VO2 max, we're talking about, 30-second, 45-second, 2-minute. Take the effort outside. I mean, all you need to do is, some people have driveways that long. Push the pace a few times to see what it feels like. And I think then it makes it easier to translate back inside when you know what that pace feels like and how you need to be driving off of a, concrete track, whatever. I think it becomes easier to come back inside. So give it a test. So quick little plug for our week 2 photo challenge here called Take It to the Limit. So we're phasing in anaerobic capacity work this week. Share a photo or story illustrating how you took it to the limit. We'll pick our favorite and send a little gear your way. Make sure to tag @Team Wilpers, @Team Wilpers Run Challenge to participate, and tag, please, #Team Wilpers Run. So we have a couple quick questions here. We got to wrap up because I have to get to another one of these. Carly has to get home. She's worked a full day. But I mentioned earlier, there were some questions about warm up, cool down, and kind of what, how to maneuver those a little bit. So the question is just, what is the difference between a warm up, cool down, and an easy pace? Which I think, to be quite honest, I've done a terrible job illustrating over the scope of 1 year, the difference between warm up, cool down, easy pace, and endurance pace, even so that Carly asked me what I meant by endurance pace earlier. So maybe that's something I correct in the future, but sorry to repeat. What is the difference between warm up, cool down, and an easy pace run? I'd warm up, cool down even slower, ? A walk. So I'll turn it over to you, Carly, and just say warming up and cooling down an easy pace. What are those kind of pace or pace ranges mean for you?
Yeah. Listen to your body. I know it's one of those that's it's not, sometimes easy pace is a range. Easy pace is a range. And I know that Jonathan, you've said this too, John, is easy pace is not necessarily one thing. It's that whole zone 1 effort. It's that low, it's a perceived exertion of I'm going at an easy effort for you. If it's the day after a workout, easy pace might be a little bit slower than usual. If you are stiff because you just worked a full day, that's what probably you mean by warm up, in the sense of you're easing into you're working the kinks out, you do your dynamic warm up, and then you start to run, and maybe 10 minutes in you finally feel like you're in a groove, and that's your easy effort pace for the day. So it's one of those where after a hard workout, your cool down pace might be slower than the warm up pace, but that's just because your body's more fatigued because you just did a whole workout. So I say easy effort. Almost every Team Wilpers person I coach, I write on their easy effort pace whenever I say easy pace, because one day it could be 11-minute pace. It could be 11:45 if you did a workout the day before and your legs are sore, but your effort perceived during those 2 runs are the same. And there's nothing wrong with that. You are working the same system. It's just that idea that your perception of what that felt like was a little bit different. So I think if you see 30 minutes of endurance and you see the 10-minute 15:5, it's that whole idea that you kind of lean into that easy effort, comfortable stride. You're not trotting, taking these little steps, and your stride's all messed up, and you're not sprinting along. So it's just that effort. Take that easy effort pace, and you cool down in the sense of no, you're not necessarily walking. I don't think it's just that idea of I'm starting to we get my heart rate to kind of stay at that lower level. I'm not speeding up if I'm not supposed to speed up at the end of a run. So yeah, that's what I would perceive easy runs and warm up, cool down. Is there's no, say your 10-minute miles, just pick an even 10-minute miles, what you usually tell yourself it is, but just give yourself between 9:40 and 10:40 as a range here, in the sense of if you had a really good night's sleep and a day off, running 9:40 might feel like an easy effort. But if you're really tired and you had a long week and you just did a workout, it might be 10:45, but you're still feeling the same effort. That's okay. You're still doing the right thing.
Yeah. I think it's worth probably mentioning as well, indoors and outdoors are so drastically different. Yesterday I was, or a couple days ago, running in Central Park, and I was running easy in the low 7s. And today I ran on the treadmill easy, and I was in the high 8s, low 9s.
Yeah.
So my effort was the same. I just, my medium shifted from outside where I know I run faster to inside where I know I run slower. But that's a 2-minute disparity for the same easy pace run. And the difference was I felt great both days. It just was I run slower inside. So you have, just be thoughtful about that. The easy pace effort makes a ton of sense. No shame in my game to run 10 minutes a mile on the treadmill when I run 7 minutes a mile outside. I'm going for easy, and that's the point of that day. And so I just adjust my effort a little bit, based upon how that feels.
And easy means easy.
Mm-hmm.
If I can find one mistake, me and my teammates in college and still now, like easy is not a sprint. That's your recovery day. It's your low cardiac muscle building.
Yeah.
It's not about heart rate up to 160 to be like, oh, I just felt so good today. I had to do it. I don't care how good you feel. It's easy. Go easy.
So kind of a part B, it was the second question, and then we'll wrap up here. So someone asked, I can successfully get through the warm-up and the main set, but I found myself very worn and nauseous. Can I fully walk the cool down? So I'm going to just turn it fully over to you because I'm curious what you would say.
I would say they probably went too fast on the workouts. If they feel like they're going at a pace that they can't jog the recoveries in between, the pace for the workout might be too fast for them. So it might be one of those where like learning how to find that pace that you can maintain for example, 4x30 seconds, 4x45, like a pace that you can maintain for all those 8 reps. You don't want to just go faster for the 30 seconds because they're shorter. If you're trying to go anaerobic capacity pace, that should be a 5-second difference. Like that should be a pace, not, well, this is shorter, so I'm going to go faster, and this is longer, I'm going to go slower, because then you're not hitting the right system that you're trying to train. So I would say it's not necessarily bad. It might not be the purpose. If you're supposed to be jogging, then I would say bring the pace down to a time where you can control your heart rate enough at the rest that you don't need to walk. That's up to the person. If the person is also new to running and they haven't been running a lot of miles, which is fine, that's great. But then, yeah, maybe you do need to walk the rest just because you're training your body on how to like have that capacity of hard effort. So I'd say if you have been running a lot of miles and that's something that feels normal to you, maybe slow the pace down a little bit to actually train the right system. Again, your paces are a range, and if you're trying to train this system, you want to stay here. You don't want to go here just because it's shorter and then come back to here because it's longer. Train that right system so that you can jog the rest in between. I don't know. Is that what you would say, John?
Yeah, for the most part. The only thing I would add on to that is really like the ambition of the cool down is kind of exactly, cool down is kind of it's probably the wrong term for it. It's kind of a warm down more than anything. Like your body is very warm. You've been running like a very intense activity. And the idea now is to very gradually bring your heart rate down. So when you go from very intense to a walk, it's probably likely your heart rate is probably going to be under easy pace in less than 2 minutes. For most people, less than 2 minutes. Some people might be 1 minute, and you're like back at almost like resting heart rate level at that point. So that's a pretty quick crash. Where Matt uses an analogy of like take off the airplane, land the airplane. That's kind of what I would say you want to think about. It's like if you're at 160 beats per minute, you don't want to be 2 minutes later at 80. You want to kind of come back down the line. And honestly, your heart rate might not settle that much like over the scope, but your body is sort of winding down. Like blood is leaving the muscles, coming back, or leaving the core, going out to the muscles, starting to like kind of gradually settle back down. And with the nauseousness, that can actually help a little bit. Like I remember getting back home from some crazy intense workouts and having that kind of like sour stomach feeling like that. I'm sure Carly remembers it from plenty of college workouts. Like it's real. So allowing that opportunity for your body to like really wind down over the course of an extended period. And I would say like walking is awesome. I love walking at the end of workouts, but I want to run. I'm in shuffle pace, jog for a little bit, at least 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. And then, and I just did it today. I will probably walk for about 10 minutes at the end of my workout after that to like really let myself wind down. So like Carly, I would encourage to at least try to run, 5-10 minutes, just easy pace to like let your body dwindle down to back to baseline, and then go into that walk for a few extra minutes.
So yeah, think of it as like, even if you're shuffling, walk for a couple seconds after the workout, shuffle for a few, then walk. Like you can kind of wean yourself down the ladder.
Love it. Well, we did it. That's all here for week 2. So thanks so much, Carly, for joining us. Carly's going to be back here a few times over the scope of the challenge, which I'm super pumped for. I'm sure you all will be as well. So have a wonderful Friday evening, and we'll see you back here soon.
Have a good one, guys.